Aureus, forgive me. And steer this weapon of deliverance to a worthier servant than I.
The metal for this, Crusader. You failed.
Lo, the latest receiver of his grace. Great potential dwells within you, doubtless, for you to be chosen thusly. And so does Aureus' wisdom guide my hand in the bestowment of this subsequent boon. Your flesh has been made sacrosanct with the mark of the Dark Crusaders. Prove yourself worthy of this gift. Seek me in the bowels of the bridge. Our work is of the greatest import.
I always wondered if there were others. You're probably thinking that lamp's just a tool to be used as you see fit. Take it lightly, and you'll find it's the other way around. Mark my words. I don't know who you are, but since it seems Adyr has you marked, making you a bigger threat to the Rogar serves us both. I've defied the wills of gods and kings. If you know any kind of freedom, you'll do the same. You carry the lamp long enough, and you'll see history repeat, over and over. If you don't want to keep retreading the same ground yourself should you fall, make use of this. I've given you more umbral guidance than I ever had. From now on, find your own way, and stay out of mine.
O holy Aureus, by your radiance grant me the strength to continue to endure these dark days, to lay bare the path to salvation for my wayward brothers and sisters, so we may walk it together, and to strike down all those who would see our will defied. Even as our suffering continued, I honored my pledge of patience to the exactor. And yet you now appear before me, a stranger, bearing what was not yours to receive. A betrayal made flesh, and one I cannot brook.
Welcome, Dark Crusader. I had no doubt in my assessment of you, as one worthy of the monumental task which lies before us, Crusader. My name is Dunmire, and I am an exactor of the Dark Crusaders, the holy order of which you are now an honored member. The Church of Orient Radiance has assigned to me the duty of purging Mournstead of its Rogar blight, and ensuring the ancient tyrant Adyr knows no liberation from his enduring imprisonment. While the schism between the Church and Judge Cleric is of long standing, she and her hallowed Sentinels, now perverted, did at least construct Mournstead's radiant beacons, which have prevented Adyr's return for centuries. But now, we stand corrupted and on the verge of collapse. It is to these 5 beacons you must turn your eye. Use the Umbral Lamp to cleanse them of Adyr's destructive influence, and deliver salvation to a world on the brink of perdition. Rogar and Hallowed Sentinel alike will offer you no quarter, so remember, though Aureus' mercy is without limit, yours should not be.
By Aureus' divine will, I live again. It's a miracle. And to think I raised my sword to you, when all along you were a divine instrument sent by him to deliver my death and rebirth and bring clarity. Forgive me, Lampbearer. I'm Pietà of the Hallowed Sentinels. And as Aureus sustains me, so too will I sustain you. Whether by making manifest your potential or through my healing blood, contained within the sanguinarics you carry. Should you find any saintly quintessences, bring them to me, and they can bolster the power of my blood further still. The beacons must be cleansed, the Hallowed Sentinels restored, and Adyr's malignancy eradicated. Through whatever is to come, fellow chosen of Aureus, we stand together in service of him.
So the Exactor's found himself a new instrument, as Exactors are wont to do. And given that lamp was intended for me should his paladin fall, and yet now here you are, Lamp Bearer. Well, it seems I was right to doubt the value of a Dark Crusader's word. I'm Stoneman, captain of the Fidelis, a group of good men and women who've made a stand against the madness which has possessed the rest of the Hallowed Sentinels. We made a vow to restore our order to its former glory, whatever the cost to ourselves. And by Judge Cleric's grace, we'll honor that vow. That heretical umbral lamp and the Dark Crusaders are necessary evils in these dire times, as are you, it would seem. Perhaps our aims will align further. Or perhaps not.
Ha! That's it, isn't it? Oh, the Lamp of Immortality. And the genuine article. Not a useless, empty vessel like the one I saw that witless fool bumbling around with. I've learned a little since coming to Mournstead about that lamp and the awful mission to which it's attached. I hope you recognize that frightful burden for what it is. In truth, what's been done to you is downright cruel. Of course, some people are born into roles of tremendous responsibility. My name is Andreas of Ebb, esteemed scion of nobility, but far more than that, descendant of the great ruler Antanas himself, as proven by my family's book of lineage, for one. That's right. Through my veins flows the blood of the legendary hero who defied Adyr and the Rogar and saved the whole world, only to be betrayed and murdered by a common criminal.
The lamp must be born until the favored child makes themselves known. Only then can the remaining carrion of creation finally return to the void.
Look at you, a Dark Crusader, a lamp bearer, and a revenant to boot. Aren't you the multifaceted one? Well, we Fidelis aren't as fortunate. We tend to stay dead when we die. And Aureus knows enough of us have done just that. Anyway, like Nathaniel says, you keep looking back, you don't see the blade coming at your front. We set ourselves a task and we have to finish it. Best watch your step out there. Mournstead is a land awash in blood, both deserved and undeserved alike. Best watch your step out there. Mournstead is a land awash in blood.
That lamp you've got there is heresy, stranger. But then, seems it's getting harder to tell what is and what ain't nowadays. Ah, strange times. But in the end, there's right and there's wrong. And that never changes. And I hope for both our sakes you know the difference. But if in doubt, you heed the captain. He's never steered me wrong, much as he might think otherwise.
The cleric's welcome comes behind the edge of a sentinel's blade, more often than not in this place. Makes me curious how you're still breathing. I suppose dangling the promise of salvation from one hand and the threat of death from the other keeps a pilgrim obedient.
Another lamp bearer. Aye, so it goes. Should you end up one of the few to earn a vestige, I'll tend to it, as I do, for whatever it's worth, and until I'm in the ground myself. The hallowed sentinels and Rogar will both show you horror enough, but nothing like what that lamp brings into view. And remember, you look into the shadows, might be the shadows look back. Mind yourself, lamp-bearer. Whether you took up that light willingly or not, you're on a treacherous path. And forever's never as long as you think.
Insult to Gerlinda's skills. Waste of her time. So, you're not another of these fools. Good. That key. Hand it over.
Apologies for the dour mood you found me in when last we met, but I've perked up since then. Found myself a new purpose, at least something to keep me occupied while in Mournstead. I'm going to be a traveling merchant. Please, peruse my wares. Hopefully you'll see something of interest. Some might use the word scavenger, true, but that sounds somewhat judgmental, don't you think? I'm just putting to use that which has been discarded. You could even say that there's a sort of nobility in it. Well,
Onwards you march, eh? I hope it's not for any kind of glory, because you won't find a sniff of that in Mournstead. And certainly I hope it's not in the name of the hallowed sentinels, because take my word for it, they're no better than the Rogar. I've got many a scar to prove it. Whether you've embraced Umbral or struggle against it is none of my concern. Power is a sweet temptation, and the lamp will grant you that, sure enough. But don't confuse that with loyalty. Still, I'll not deny, I owe Umbral for giving me what it did. So the vestiges will be minded as long as I'm able. Name's Byron, by the way. I'll be around. Always am.
You! How about some help? The sorcerer I was traveling with said the trinket I wore was actually some kind of ancient magical accessory. Said it would toughen my skin against harm if I let him reinvigorate it with his sorcery. As you can see, he did that sure enough. Stupid bastard. But he was a stupid bastard with coin, and the mercenaries got to make a living. Wilmot wanted protection for a journey to Mournstead. He thought there was powerful magic here for the finding. But the coward ran off when some creatures appeared soon after I started petrifying. They couldn't take my head, but hopefully they hunted him down and made a latrine out of his. So, looks like my blade's for hire again, when I can swing it. Get this damn thing off me, and I'll be in your debt. And who doesn't appreciate having a favor in the pocket?
I've given you more umbral guidance than I ever had. From now on, find your own way, and stay out of mine.
There is a point at which pride and purpose become self-destruction and illusion, friend. But if you insist on continuing to punish yourself, then I suggest you venture into the woods. Unnaturally frozen and home to terrors they may be, but they also contain one of the beacons to which you've dedicated yourself. And who knows what other treasures might be found there beneath the snow and ice.
That heretical umbral lamp and the Dark Crusaders are necessary evils in these dire times, as are you, it would seem. Perhaps our aims will align further. Or perhaps not.
Several of our sacred texts tell of Saint Latimer, a noble knight, and most devout follower of Our Lady, canonized after he sacrificed himself to help show the hallowed sentinels what was necessary for the greater good. Many have given their lives to sustain the beacons, but Latimer was the first, and remains one of our most venerated figures.
I intended to see if the ones who inhabit this swamp might be potential customers, but they seem quite focused on heads, including the removal of them. So, I thought it best to keep my distance, in case they took a liking to mine. Not that many ever have with this face, huh? It's an odd light that burns in your lamp, friend. Of course, in the darkest moments, the only light you ever really need is the light of Aureus. He watches over his followers. He just does so in curious ways sometimes, that's all.
How do? Name's Justin. Hey, look at that. You're a lampy like me. Not gonna hurt us now we got these, eh? Wait till Melchior sees me next. I'll chop my own head off and come back and he won't believe his eyes. Melchior, he's my brother. He's a famous knight. He's fought dragons and giants and evil wizards and all sorts. Those spiky baddies only got the drop on us because they cheated. I fell down and got knocked on the head, and when I woke up, Melchior were gone. And he'd never leave me. They took him. But not to worry, I'll get him back and be a hero just like him. Well, I best be off soon. So long, Lampy.
I'd heard things in Mournstead were bad, but this... centuries of madness and slaughter. Atrocity upon atrocity committed by man and rogar alike. If all this really resulted from the presence of the rune, then...
Hello, Lampy. A nice man with a little moustache told me he saw the baddies taking Melchior towards the castle, and this was how to get there. And look, I found a helmet. The head that were in it fell right out and it fit perfect. That's a good sign, that is.
Whoever took it, I swear! This vestige, it marks where Catherine fell. She was a lamp bearer like you. But far more than that, she was my love. I left a token here in her memory. A pendant I gave her a long time ago, and now it's gone! It's all I have left! Catherine and I were both hallowed sentinels. It's hard to imagine now. She was astounding. We fell in love, and we embraced what we had, even though the Order forbids it. They found out and made sure we paid for our sin with agony. In the end, they thought we were dead. But it was only Catherine's heart stopped, and not for long, thanks to the umbral lamp. But even as a lamp bearer, eventually there came a day when she fell. And didn't rise again. I'll find the bastard who took that pendant. You find them first, you tell me. Understand? There'll be blood for this desecration.
I'm Winterberry. You're my first customer today. I don't get many. I've got nice things, though. I like your lamp, but I know you won't trade it. A long time ago, I asked someone else who had a lamp like that if he'd trade it to me, and he called me a bad name, and told me to go where he cut my head off. He was rude. There are lots of nasty people in Mournstead, but I'm quick and clever, and that's how I find so many amazing things to trade. I just found a necklace here in the mine. But you can't buy that. I'm keeping it for myself. Because I love it so much.
No. This is wrong. This didn't happen. Things went bad. I had to fight my way out of Mournstead. But it didn't happen like this. I didn't... This was it. The moment I handed over the rune of Adyr and damned this entire kingdom for generations to come. I was tired, angry. I was never a man of faith, but I thought who better to entrust the rune to than a judge. and look around at what that decision cost.
If you're looking for the captain, he's left for the manse. Alone. Nathaniel and I wanted to accompany him, but he wouldn't hear of it. Told us to keep an eye on things here. Said it was important. But I wonder at that.
Captain was prepared to carry that umbral burden, even though the man already carries burden enough. Misplaced as it is. If your paths cross out there, you do right by him. Because lamp bearer you may be, but even lamp bearers feel pain just fine. Understand?
While the beacon should remain your most pressing task, I would have you perform another for me concurrently. Seek out and return to me the items which stand as proof of the hallowed Sentinel's heretical deviations and practices. For only in the study of such can we hope to turn them towards the true light of Aureus. This land is overflowing with sin, so I expect this undertaking to offer you little difficulty. Also, say nothing of this to Pietà or the Fidelis captain. They are already conflicted. Troubling them further only endangers them and our mission.
The thief's naught but an umbral-afflicted girl. That lamp's rotted your brain. Does this place look like somewhere a child could survive? Oh, I suppose I've seen stranger things in my time. All right. If there's a chance that's the case, then when I find her, I'll stay my hand. At least long enough to be sure. If you're right about this, the thought of a poor girl down there alone in the dark, Katrin wouldn't have ignored such a plight. And she'd not see me do so either.
Another unfortunate made a slave to unceasing hunger. I pity you. But, as bleak as this refuge may be, it is our refuge nonetheless. And you are not welcome here.
Hello, Lampy. It's bleeding brass monkeys out here. Oh, sorry, Melchior don't like me swearing. Don't tell him, will you? I was trying to light that fire, but I can't feel my hands. Or my toes. Or my face. I know my lamp will bring me back if I freeze into a block of ice, but this cold's still no good. Snuggling closer, Snuffles. Me, you, and Melchior will be back together again soon. Just you wait.
I was aware of it, of course, but I'd never seen snow before coming here. It's beautiful and cold. I've been hearing tell of this Umbral Lampbearer mission in my wanderings. It sounds simply harrowing. A burden like that. All that pain and death with no respite or reward in sight. It makes me wonder what sort of person you would have to be to, well... I may have been branded a failure, but see how Judge Cleric has guided me to this sacred path after all. So many brave, fallen, hallowed sentinels. So much sacrifice, yet we can take comfort in the knowledge they were rewarded for their faith. Life itself is a long and winding path, and sometimes you carry much, sometimes nothing at all. But the most important things are those you carry inside, and they are always with you. So, this is where those men more deserving than I dwell, in the divine light of Judge Cleric's grace. It's quite something, isn't it? The sights, the sounds.
You would defile this sacred place with this horror.
With your very own hands.
Monster, does your blasphemy know no bounds?
If only it were that easy. Brother, we have a guest.
Another sinner. No.
Pain. Not so satisfying when you're on the receiving end. Now you will know darkness, brother.
So you still live. After a fashion, Revenant. This threshold will mean nothing to you. Yet it was once forbidden for any man to set foot on the grounds of the Abbey. Just one of the many edicts to crumble with the Order's collapse. Still, I hesitate to trespass. But our Immaculate Lady waits beyond. So trespass I must.
This abbey once belonged to Mournstead's previous dominant religion, before Judge Cleric declared it the hallowed Sentinel's new home and sanctified it to take a mundane thing and transform it into something magnificent and holy is miraculous indeed. I may not be wise, but one thing I have learned is that you never really know what life's going to throw at you. So, I hope you'll consider this friendly advice, not me thinking of my own profit. If there's anything amongst my merchandise that you've had your eye on, well, perhaps you should consider buying it now, just to be certain.
This tree grew from a seed into what you see now in a single day. One of Judge Cleric's miracles to edify her disciples. There once hung from it an ancient banner carried into battle long ago by Our Lady herself. A symbol of more virtuous times. And one torn down and disgraced since.
Aberrant child, you will know peace.
I will incinerate your soul with holy fire for this profanation! Yeah! Lowly blasphemer!
chance, child. For you have been deceived and enslaved by forces who regard you as nothing more than an instrument through which they might enact their blasphemous will and prevent my rightful return. They speak of light while offering you nothing but blindness. Weak hypocrites relying on the malignant power of Umbral. With one breath, then decrying it with another. They brand me evil, a tyrant, and yet I offer you something they will not. A choice. Reject the fanatical crusaders and the deranged servants of the self-proclaimed judge. Dismiss all of their false dogma and the torturous mission to which they have bound you. And only then will you know freedom. And if you would hear it, the truth.